I want you to listen carefully. This isn't just another sad story. It's a reflection of the childhood so many people had to survive in silence. Stay till the very end to hear the story of Eli, a boy who was forced to become an adult before he even learned what being a kid felt like. It's heartbreaking, but it carries a truth that might just heal something inside you. 45 brutal facts about the child who had to parent their parents. You were the therapist before you could spell the word. You learned to comfort others before anyone ever comforted you. You carried adult problems in a child's mind. You were praised for being mature, not realizing it was trauma wearing a mask. You were never allowed to just be. You always had to fix. You raised yourself while keeping everyone else from falling apart. You confused love with responsibility. You were more parent than child, and now you can't switch it off. You can't rest because rest once meant neglect. You feel guilty for focusing on yourself. You mistake exhaustion for normal life. You grew up emotionally starving but made sure everyone else was fed. You still flinch when someone says it's not your job. You crave stability but don't know what it feels like. You learned emotional CPR because your home was a war zone. You can't stand selfishness, but secretly wish you could be selfish for once. You take care of people who never take care of you. You confuse boundaries with betrayal. You've been strong for so long that weakness terrifies you. You think peace is something you have to earn. You fear letting go because control was your only protection. You feel invisible when you're not needed. You mistake chaos for connection. You hate asking for help. It feels like failure. You became the emotional parent to your own parents. You carried adult secrets that shattered your innocence. You mastered empathy but never received it. You think other people's happiness is your job. You attract broken people. You were trained to fix them. You never had the luxury of being fragile. You grew up fast. And now you don't know how to slow down. You find comfort in people who need saving. You struggle to play. You were always too busy surviving. You resent your childhood but feel guilty for resenting it. You think being loved means being useful. You crave being taken care of, but don't trust anyone to do it right. You forgive too easily because you understand too much. You confuse burnout with purpose. You're drawn to emotional chaos because silence feels unsafe. You fear love that doesn't require you to fix something. You apologize for existing when you're not helping. You downplay your pain because others had it worse. You can't remember being carefree, only careful. You learned to survive, but never learned to feel safe. You weren't raised. You were recruited to hold the family together. You were never supposed to grow up that fast. You were never supposed to be the one holding everything together while trying not to fall apart yourself. But you did. And that's a strength few people will ever understand. You carried emotional weights that weren't yours to hold, learned responsibility too early, and called it love. You took care of people who should have taken care of you. And yet, here you are, still standing. That alone is proof that your spirit is unbreakable. But now it's time to rewrite the story. You don't have to be everyone's protector anymore. You don't have to fix broken people to feel worthy of love. You don't have to earn peace. You deserve it. You deserve to rest without guilt, to be held instead of holding everyone else up, to be understood instead of endlessly understanding others. Healing starts when you finally give yourself what you kept giving away: care, compassion, and patience. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to stop carrying the weight that never belonged to you. You are not broken. You're just tired of being strong. And that's okay. Because real strength isn't about surviving your past. It's about choosing to heal despite it. You're not the product of your pain. You're the proof that love and awareness can rise from it. So take a breath. You've done enough. You've always been enough. Now it's your turn to be loved, nurtured, and free. How to heal. When you had to parent your parents, acknowledge that it wasn't your job. The first step in healing is facing the truth. You were forced to grow up too soon. That's not being mature, that's emotional survival. You didn't fail. Your parents did. Accepting that brings power, not bitterness. Let go of the caretaker identity. You don't have to fix everyone anymore. You're not responsible for saving people from their own pain. Healing begins when you stop confusing control with care. Start setting guilt-free boundaries. Say no, and don't apologize for it. You were trained to feel guilty for protecting yourself, but boundaries are not rejection, they're self-respect. Reparent yourself. Give yourself what you were missing: safety, patience, and unconditional love. Talk to yourself kindly. Eat well. Rest without explaining why. That's what real parenting looks like. Seek therapy or deep self-reflection. A good therapist can help you unpack the emotional roles you were forced to play. If you can't access therapy, journal deeply. Write letters to your younger self. Let the child in you finally speak. Learn to receive help. Allow others to care for you. It's not weakness. Letting someone love you without conditions teaches your nervous system that safety exists. Stop performing strength. You don't have to be the strong one all the time. Strength is not about holding it together. It's about allowing yourself to fall apart safely. Detach from emotional guilt. You can love your parents and still hold them accountable. You can walk away from toxicity and still wish them healing. Guilt is not love, it's manipulation learned early. You can't rewrite your past, but you can stop letting it define your future. The little version of you that had to be strong is still inside, waiting to be held. Every boundary you build, every act of rest, every moment of self-kindness. That's you finally becoming the parent you needed. You survived your childhood. Now it's time to live your adulthood in freedom. Eli was 9 when he learned how to stop his father's rage, not with words, but with silence. He learned how to hide his mother's pills before she could find them. He learned how to lie to neighbors with a steady voice. Everything's fine. At 10, he was old enough to understand bills but too young to sign them. At 11, he walked to school with an empty stomach and a heavy mind. By 12, he had mastered the art of pretending he didn't need anyone. He didn't cry much. Tears made things worse. He didn't dream. Dreams were for kids who got to be kids. He just fixed things. When his father lost his job, Eli found one at a scrapyard, collecting cans for a few coins. When his mother disappeared for days, he cooked dinner for his little sister, even when there wasn't much to cook. He learned to wash clothes by hand, patch up bruises, and answer doors with fake smiles. He became the man of the house before he became a teenager. But the hardest part wasn't the hunger, the exhaustion, or the fear. It was the silence that followed the chaos, that eerie calm that made him wonder if he was next to break. One night, his mother stumbled home crying, whispering, "You shouldn't have to do this." Eli didn't answer. He just wrapped her in a blanket, the same way she used to do for him when she still remembered how. And in that moment, in that tiny flicker of human weakness, he felt something shift. He realized he'd been fighting to save a version of his family that no longer existed. He couldn't fix them. He never could. But he could save himself. Years later, Eli left, not out of anger, but out of love. The kind of love that knows when to let go. He worked, studied, built a life from the ashes of survival. And one day, when he looked in the mirror, he didn't see the scared boy anymore. He saw a man who made peace with his past. Not by forgetting it, but by understanding it. Because the truth is, some kids grow up building homes out of broken people. But the bravest ones, the truly strong ones, learn to build a home inside themselves. Sometimes strength isn't about carrying the weight, it's about putting it down. You didn't fail your parents by surviving them. You saved yourself. And that's what healing looks like. If this story moved you, don't just keep it to yourself and let's talk about it. Drop a comment below and tell me what part of Eli's story hit you the hardest. Make sure you like this video so it reaches more people who need to hear it. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because every day we uncover real stories that touch the mind, heart, and soul. Also, check out my website. You'll find powerful ebooks, audiobooks, and printable planners that help you heal, grow, and build a better version of yourself. There's so much there waiting for you. Real tools for real growth. So go explore the site, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and share this video. Because healing begins when we start talking about what no one else does.